What is up, podcasters? Welcome back into another podcast. In today's podcast, we have a special guest from a rape crisis center. And I want to actually welcome you guys to the floor. You guys are welcome. How did you guys actually feel like having to come in deep? Let me start off to Malik. How did you guys feel like having to come in deep into Milwaukee?
Okay, hi everyone. Actually, you know what? We work in Woma. Woma is one of our areas that we work in. You will never know when you're safe. You can't say you're 100% safe, but we're happy and excited actually to come to the site, especially coming to the location and have this podcast. It was like, you know what? We are going through the right channel in a way. Yeah.
Okay. And you guys, have you guys like done a podcast before?
No.
No.
So this is
No, we are excited.
no, guys.
New beginnings for us. So yeah, we are happy.
Yeah. So yeah, guys. I actually love the energy here. I feel like it doesn't feel like as if you guys started out. I'm just seeing all the days just like shouting. Yeah. This is the kind of vibe that we want people to have experienced having to come into the platform. I know. Okay, what you're gonna. Oh, actually, you didn't get to introduce it, but can you just do a soft introduction of who you are?
Okay. My name is Zoleka and my surname is Munoza. I'm the advocacy officer for the Rape Crisis Center. And as Busi mentioned that we work, we outreach, like Woma is one of the area. But we need to be vigilant all the time because areas are not the same. But again, we were eager to come. You see.
Okay. I know what we're gonna conversate around is like a topic that's not easy to some people, but I feel like it's also it's very sensitive, but I feel like it's also necessary that we talk about these things, especially in the modern times that we actually live in. So firstly, what we wanna ask both what I wanna ask is the fact that what are the type of sexual violences that you guys normally like deal with?
All right. As we mentioned that we are from the Rape Crisis Center. So one of the sexual violence that we are dealing with is rape, because we are collaborating with the Tutuzela Care Center, and the Tutuzela Care Center is right at Doranginza Hospital, and it's a center that is NPA driven, that is National Prosecutor. NPA is National Prosecuting Authority. Yes. So it's having, or it consists of various stakeholders, which is Rape Crisis, is part of the NGO that is there. We've got Department of Social Development, which provides social workers. Rape Crisis is providing first responders, that is staff that are doing the condemnation in terms of trying to reassure the rape victims. Then we've got police, because we know it is a crime and it needs to be investigated. So we do have police that are trained to investigate those cases. We've got the medical part, which is provided by Department of Health, which is we've got a dedicated doctor oncedayo ke in terms of ukuba amakajonge lo mntu uthi uza edlwengulwe, because all the evidence that the doctor is going to collect, it needs to be an evidence in court. Ne? We've got the site coordinator, which is the manager of the center, who is orientating people in terms of telling them exactly what is happening, what procedures needs to be followed when a person who has been raped, and how she has to be managed. Then we've got Wendy, who is the just remind me, Wendy, portfolio yake, but Wendy is more on assisting in terms of the progress of the case, like
The legal,
liaising with the detectives in terms of informing the client how far is the case. Yes. And then sexual harassment, actually it's not a sexual violation that we are dealing with, but sometimes staff are being trained in order to give more information to companies that always experience this type of sexual violation. And then touching, unwanted touches, we also being invited in schools, because sometimes there's bullyism where the kids will report cases like this. So if maybe Usi wants to do any more.
Yeah, also Sister has actually mentioned a lot of what we do. She has packaged everything, but I also want to differentiate between the rape and sexual assault. When we talk about sexual assault, we talk about any behavior or any contact that doesn't have a consent. You know, when someone touches you in the way that you feel that this is uncomfortable, you're not free to that, you know, then that's where the sexual assault comes from, because it's starting from the touch, from the behavior. So there's a lot of different sexual assault. And then now when we talk about rape, we talk about penetration now. We're talking about someone inserting something, you know, in your vaginal or in your anus, whether it could be penis or it could be any of the objects that a person will penetrate in your vaginal or anus. So that is the rape. That's, I think, that's the difference within the sexual assault of touching your bump, you know, your breast and all that, and the rape where there's penetration. Yeah.
As you mentioned with the consent,
Yes.
I think people aren't well educated with consent. Can you
Yes.
elaborate on the
Yeah.
consent part? What?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. You know what? We underestimate things. A consent goes a long way. That firstly we need to understand that are we all in the mutual agreement. A consent is all about the mutual agreement, the agreement between us. Knowing the consequences also of what's going to happen after we have done whatever that we've decided to do. And also consent, it goes that there's people that take consent for granted. There's a power struggle that if you are older than me, you can make decision on my behalf, which is that it's violations. It's violating someone else's consent. And we also sometimes allow power to take over us, because a person might influence me and I might not be able to say no, I don't want to do this, you know. And we lack that. The concern is more of that we are lacking to say no, and we lacking to understand, because sometimes we don't understand and we don't have clarity of the engagement that we are getting ourselves in. So consent, it has different side of consent. I'm just want to check because my colleague did to blend the consent thing there. I'm just want to check the importance of a consent. As I was talking about, okay, the agreement, that the consent is an agreement. There's an autonomy. Autonomy explains that there should be a clear understanding when we talk about a consent. And also it reduces coercion, because if there's no consent, there's a lot of violations that is involved there. So people need to understand why there's the term consent, so that we are all both in the same page. And also remember that there's also substance abuse. We cannot, someone who has been using alcohol, that person actually she's not in the right direction or in the right state of mind to give a consent. So now if I'm drunk and then we go and sleep together, you as a sober person, you didn't have a right to sleep with me because I was unconscious. I can't make a decision. Anyone that is being under the substance, they're not really in the right state of mind to give consent.
Yeah. What if they both intoxicated and maybe like I wouldn't say they agreed on this bit, but
Yeah.
Tolman did it anyway without talking about it or
Yeah.
any kind of consent.
Yes, that's an unfortunate part because now both of you didn't really consent to this. You didn't have an agreement to this. You just went with the flow or whatever that was happening at the state. So now the sad part is that after the whatever that has happened, who's going to deal with the consequences? You know, who's going to be in charge of the consequences that has happened? So that's an unfortunate part. That's why we rather say don't engage in any sexual activities if you are, yes, when you're intoxicated.
Thank you, Busi, for that. These are the issues that retard a process in court. You will find out the case has been withdrawn because there's not enough evidence. You see, both of you were drunk, you see, and you can't even give a collection of what happened. Yes, what happened to you, you see. So it's one of the things. And since Ukusi mentioned the power and the control, it's part of the realities of sexual violence, because we talk about irrealities, we talk about the power and the control, where you find out this person, and particularly we talk about men, we talk about people who are in the high position there, who are taking the advantages, you see. To most of the people want jobs, you see, and that is most of the problems, you see. And sometimes we talk about unreported cases. These are the realities in sexual violence. And unreported cases, what are the reason for me not to go and report the case? Is it because I'm a transgender and I'm being stigmatized and I'm going to be discriminated by the authorities who are taking a statement from me? You see, those are the realities, you see. So the prevalence, whereby we know that globally we talk about statistics and we talk about the inaccurate statistics, because if I don't report the case, I will not be part of the statistics, but I'm the victim, I'm the survivor. See, and we mentioned that globally, stats will say so many women are being raped. You see, men are also being raped. You see, so those are the things that I needed just to mention regarding irrealities and concerning victim blaming, always being victimized, blamed, and secondary victimization. Who will tell you, as a social worker who is dealing with these cases, will say she has been victimized, and then she's going for a service that she thinks she will get an efficient service. Secondary victimization, where the same official, the same supporter, whom she thinks she is disclosing all this information, and now she's being victimized, and call it secondary victimization.
I heard you mention something about transgender people. Does the would I say rules or yeah, does it work with the same way for, because they were the undergender before telling yeah, does it work the same way for everyone if they did the transformation?
Yeah, as long as we stick under the laws and what is holistic in terms of how do you treat this same person in that the constitution is protecting. So is that person needs to be treated equally, and even in front of the door, that person be treated equally, irrespective of the identity that she is or he is portraying.
Yeah. Can I add also in that? And also remember that we are humans, we are all humans, regardless of what your gender is. If you are hurt and you are being violated, you have a right to be treated with dignity and respect. So regardless of what is your gender or how you classify yourself, you have a right in the South African Constitution that we are all humans, we have human rights. So regardless of your gender. Yeah, thank you.
But what I want to ask also is it like the same measurements that you guys take in terms of having to work on a resolution? Is it the same for both men and women?
Mhm. Okay, yes, it is. Firstly, Rape Crisis Center was born in looking at the holistical human perspective. We help everyone. We don't have a gender. We don't have a race. We don't have a type. So everyone that has find themselves in a space of being sexually violated, yes, assaulted, we help them regardless. So we treat them. We always the person centers people. That the best interest of the people. So regardless of who you are, we treat you the same with dignity.
I heard you mention, but there are investigators and people trained for such. I don't think maybe you'll be able to answer the question, but what happens when maybe a victim has been victimized and then they didn't report on time so that
Yeah.
the evidence could be taken, like the clinic taking samples and stuff, but there's not enough evidence. What happens then?
If I can tell you, your question is good, and we listen to the radios, we watch the TVs, then we see cases that incident happened long ago, but a person will be convicted. There was no evidence in terms of the semi, you see, but due to the fact that the person, in terms of what she is telling the court, what happened, you see, putting it in a yes, that counts. Okay. That counts. Because sometimes the same person who has been raped today and was forced that she must wash and go and report. She reported the case in a duration.
Yeah.
Ne? So now the evidence has been erased. Ne? It doesn't mean that that case is going to be true. Ne? Provided she will be or he will be given enough information that talk about what we need to do. Because the police doesn't know anything, the court doesn't know anything. They will get the information from me, and it's that information that is going to persist during the whole process of court and investigation.
Yeah. Also, to add on that, there's no time frame for you to open the case. The moment that because sometimes you can be raped today or sexually assaulted and you feel like I don't want to open a case, you have a legal right to do that. But the important part is that you people need to be educated that what do I do when I find myself being raped, yes, because the important part is that sometimes you need to, it's a must actually that you get health assistance, you get being examined, you get forensic, because there's a lot of prevention that happens when you are being raped. You need to see the healthcare workers because there's a lot of things that can happen. You can get an STI, you can be pregnant, there's a lot of injuries, there's a lot of stuff that it's involved in your health. So it's important that you go and get that assistance, regardless whether you want to open a case now or you want to open the case later, because now that evidence will be kept. now you come 2 years, 3 years later, and you feel like, you know what, now I'm ready for, yes, I can open the case. So it's always making the work easier even for the investigators, because now they can go back to your file and find the evidence, you know. So sometimes that people feel that maybe justice is failing them because they didn't take the right procedure or the right step of going to get the forensic and whatever that it's needed. So yes, on time, so that when they're ready, then now they could be an evidence. Because now if you didn't do the right procedure of getting forensic examination and all that, now you come later, you know, it's in balance that the perpetrator might be prosecuted and the perpetrator might not, because the evidence now is compromised. But regardless whether you want to open it 5 years or you have a right to open a case.
That is why we are saying the sexual bite, it's a public matter. It's not a private. You keep it private, but because of the stigma, people, they like to keep it private. But it is a public. People must know it's happening. And it's a health issue, as Umusi mentioned, that you will be pregnant and then you won't feel like keeping the pregnancy. You see, like going for termination of a pregnancy. And it's a human rights violation. Those things, they go hand in hand. And we talk about HIV, we talk about TB, we talk about STIs, and we talk about gender-based violence. All those things, they together.
Yes.
That was actually very good insight there. That was very good insight. I'm wanna also, like, I feel like this also needs like some sort of insight into it, whereby you feel like as if it's very common, like within the community, whereby you find the youth, whereby, you know, maybe they are coming out from a groove, you know, one partner is giving consent, they agree on doing this, and then you find that there's other people involved also within whatever they agreed on, and you'd find that, hey, now the girl feels like as if like she was raped, because she isn't feeling like too comfortable with herself. Like she feels as if there was some extra extra judgment. Yeah, it feels like physically, it feels as if like it wasn't just a single person. Yeah, but so what happens in such instances whereby one person was given a consent, and then there was other people involved in terms of having to extract DNAs and all of that.
When specimens are being taken by the professional doctor, medical doctor, you will be first given the information in terms of, do you have another person who did sexual act with you with consent? Because when we are collecting the specimen, that person is the engaged.
Yeah.
Big role. So we need to be, you need to be open regarding that, because I can maybe have a consent with my partner at night, and then I go to work in the morning, and then I got raped. You see, I must disclose that I had, you see, because it will be picked up, so that the DNA results, when they come, at least you did mention, because my partner can be also part of. See, but those things need to be discussed properly.
My main concern is the part where people are falsely accused. Like if Masiti, they gave consent, and then they did the deed, and then there are other people who are like judging outside about, why did you do it with him, that way, and then they start feeling ashamed, then they lie. Or maybe there's a case where there's blackmail involved, and then they like, give me money or something like that, or I'm gonna report you. Then they falsely accuse like that, and then they get arrested for like that long period of time. Then turns out the evidence comes back that they were falsely accused. What happens then? Do they cut the criminal record? Do they get the time back? does the girl get arrested for falsely? I choose them.
Yeah. That one is a very tricky situation. Ne? Remember when I mentioned before that now we are a person-centered approach, meaning that what the clients tells us, we will believe what the clients tell us. We will walk the journey with the client. Ne? It happens a lot that a person might find themselves in that situation because of peer pressure and all that, and some will call it amavuso, you agreed, and then now this morning there's no amavuso and you feel like, this guy has actually violated me. Remember that there is some sort of violation in that process. There's some sort of hate. There's some sort of agreement not met in a way. That's why there's a justice that will come in. Tina will listen to what the victim is saying, what the survivor is saying. How can you assist you as a survivor that feels that I'm being violated? We walk the journey with you and we also guide you. But the justice system, when they get in, the police, they will do the investigation, obviously, and then they will find to the bottom of this that it's actually you were not really being telling the truth, and sometimes you find that the survivors come honestly at the end that actually this is what happened. So it's rare that a person will really be arrested for something that they didn't really do. There is an evidence, concrete evidence that says actually we did do this or you didn't do it. Yeah, I don't know if sister wants to add.
In fact, Lucy, during investigation, you will find that as the person who is working very much closer on the court, you will find that the survivor is disclosing now that I'm being threatened, there are intimidations, so I'm going to withdraw the case, or I will say I was lying. How do we do
Balance?
Because the client is disclosing to you that assist me, I'm in this situation. You see, it happened to me, and I opened up. I did report the case, but now the public or the community is threatening me.
What did you expect?
What were you expecting? And you feel in your back. If you are going to fail the client, that is the victim, the victim will tell other people, and other people will decide, I'm not going to report. But there are innocent, maybe perpetrators sometimes. You see, they didn't do that, but what the court is saying is listening, as Ubusima said, to this lady who is narrating a beautiful story showing that sexual violation happened. You see, up until there will be evidence which is showing that my client was lying, and then the investigating officer and the court, they must deal with it. Some of the perpetrators, they sue
The state.
because there's enough
Evidence.
even if now it can be you did it, but you didn't do this thing. But if you are going to collect more information up until this person who came forward and said you raped me is going to say no, I was lied because it's this.
In the case of whereby you find again that a female is actually penetrated, but not with let's say using fingers. Let's say using fingers or like an object. Is it also like under like the same thing of as if you rape the person? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Remember of the consent. We mentioned the consent part. Unwanted. Yes. So it is.
So in terms of like having to make let's say now like as a victim coming through to report this, how do you guys give that approach of comfortability, making sure that they also comfortable with themselves and actually reporting and speaking out against the perpetrator?
Yeah. Remember, we are a safe space. The moment that a survivor comes into us, we acknowledge that this you are in a safe space now. You have to feel free and confidential. It's also one of our ethics values that we use, and then we just create a safe space where the survivor can be able to talk and share the experiences what happened to us. Me myself as a social worker, I deal with therapy, so I'm there as a therapist for her. I'm showing her that I'm here for you. Empath is one of the things that we use, so we walk the journey with you. So we're creating a safe space for any survivor that enters our center.
Have you ever had male victims?
What I was going to say. It's what I was going to say, but I was going to say when the client is coming, like when the survivor is coming, the survivor has got the right to say, I'm not feeling comfortable to speak to Ubusi Ane. Mene. You see? And secondly, I'm not comfortable to be medically examined by the same man who did this to me. I'm still having that trauma. You see? So you have to ensure that you reassure the client. And as Ubus was saying, it's a safe space. You have to make a client at ease and be comfortable. Ne? We understand your situation. We are short of female daughters. And this doctor is well trained, or this official is well trained to the best. Ne? But it's up to you. You see, it's up to you. Maybe we can have this doctor tomorrow. You see, that the male doctor is coming tomorrow, or the female doctor is coming tomorrow. Because if you are not going to accommodate the client, that's secondary victimization. But the client needs to voice out how she feels, how he feels.
Yeah, and also going back to the question, we do have male survivors that are being raped. Before, it was a taboo thing for a male to come and report rape, because of the stigma. You're not a man enough. Why you go and report? What's wrong with you? Yeah, then they got laughed at. But now we do have male that come and report the sexual violence. And mostly also now going to the gender, you find that also most of transgenders are being victims because community members want to prove a point. You what are you? You're a woman or what? We want to show you. So we do have those, and we walk the journey with them. Yeah, it's all about assisting the client.
This is a very sensitive.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
Stretch questions.
In fact, when we started as an Akaribeshi, our focus was more to assist the female, because that was the group of people will always complain reporting the issue of rape. Ne? We are feminists. Ne? Up until we felt that this war we will not be win if we are only focusing on us. Although we feel the pain and no one else can feel the pain except us as women. Ne? But we ended up saying during in campaigns, educational campaigns, ne, we will empower us as women who feel the pain. Ne? But we will rope men who are going to also assist in fighting this, because they are the best people who will say, okay, let me go and speak to other men. This is not acceptable. You understand? Because there's a lot, there is marital rape, and then there will be the issues of no kaloku tumlobole. Ne? Dimenza umfazi wam. He is my property. So we want to delete those stereotypes that are going to cause problems, you see. Like when we are having as educational talks, we start talking to the young boys because bona
Yes.
we educate them, we educate them because bona benza laa yoba cheria kanye yabo unvume. Think about age group and think about sometimes they are having parties, you see, and think about it's not going to be my daughter who is going to report because she's underage. As a mother, I have to stand up for my daughter whose violation, whose
Rights being violated.
So it's like that, and we urge them, please, guys, because when you do this, they would wait for you up until 10:18, and then the case is on, and they drag it, kamabu, so that you can be at the right age.
Only CJM there to get justice.
To be convicted. Because kaloku you did it. You did it as
The child.
dark boy, and uyenza madithi kwi-girlfriend yakho ucheria yabo, because they do have that relationship, but they are afraid because at your age. So there's a lot of challenges.
This whole thing started off. We should not forget the way God Justiceforcwecwe.
Yes.
The way he opened up should I say field or a stage for victims that never voiced out to actually tell his daughters in should I say your department okanye which justice system, what are you guys doing towards a justice for all his victims?
Okay. The issue kaCwecwe, it ivele yavula a lot of wounds, unhealed wounds, and to us working with the rape survivors, it shows also that uCwecwe was just one of the people of 100 people, yes, of the victims that also didn't get justice, and also it was just to us alarming that, hey guys, you need to even work more harder now, because sometimes we have this thing that the police are there, the investigators are there, we just, when we work with the clients, but we like the police are there, they will do their work, but now it pushes us to even go deeper to the investigating sites. What is happening there? Where is this case happening? What's going on? Can you give us the update? Usisoke will elaborate more on that because she's an advocacy officer, so she works a lot with those. But it says to us, don't just sit and say we've opened the case, we got a court preparation that is coming, but what is happening? What's the way forward? So, and also now recently we also had a lot of our survivors that coming to the center now at the hospital site to the care center, and you find that now they are reporting this. The mother will come with a 5-year-old boy and say, my child actually was sexually violated, but I was not sure, I was unsure but then I saw the signs, and now I'm confident to say that there was something done to my son, so there's a lot of cases that we have found after the thing, and then now we are like, okay, we don't really have that evidence now, but open the case. Let's open the case. Let's see what's going on. Where is this going? So it just has opened other side that we really need to work hard, and we need to work together, because if we work in isolation, then the victims suffer, the secondary victims as well. So there's a lot that we need to do out there. It's a sad story actually.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
What do you guys also make of the justice system in terms of like having to be against the expected results? Like, what does that have to, like, instilling to a female's victim that or we can actually speak out, but the justice system can be against us. Like, what does that actually have to instill into a female's mind that, or if I actually speak out, I can be seen like as if I'm a laughing stock. Okay, I could be seen as if I was seeking for attention, or whatever that I was planning to actually get didn't turn out the way I expected things to turn out. Like, what does that instill in terms of the justice system having to turn against the decision of a majority? Because we saw that as well, that social media has a lot of power, but then it just happened that the justice system was against what the social media was standing on. Yeah, so
Yeah. I think, I've mentioned that evidence is very important. That people needs to be aware of what to do when they being sexually violated or being raped, ne? So that it has more volume on the investigators. And also I mentioned that sometimes we need to work together now, because the case will go to court and the judges make decisions. We can't make decisions that the judge has come out with the outcomes. So now we need to work together. We need to bring the higher authorities in our space, so that they are in this, they see how the victims, because we will deal with the victim directly, but then they might not be in that space, same space that we are in, the victim, and we understand how the victim has been impacted and how she feels or how he feels. So we need them also, the decision makers, to be on our space as well, so that it doesn't come as if it's an isolation, because now we all saying we're angry, we have this evidence, we know this person has been raped, we know this person has been violated, but then it comes to court that the perpetrator is not guilty, and then now we are like, how, what happened, so we also need them to be on this level that we are in. I think that can help. And also, we don't leave the victim once maybe they say, now there's no case, we're closing the case. Now we work on the healing side. The victim now needs to come, the survivor, then we give the therapy. Let's heal now, because this has happened, it's out of our control, but let's heal so that you are a better person in the future. Yeah, no, no,
I can see the social worker is angry. I can see she's angry. And now she's displaying that picture or that face of a community who's an activist who's going to say Tita Bafa's sitting for ne? So a community, when they are angry, they want to take the law into their hands. Because when it goes to court, say Mulewe now the law turns back to them, not to the perpetrator now.
Yeah, community.
And even frustration, because the sentences that they are being given for the fact that they took the law into their hand. I wish the sentence me no one. I don't know, and people will say the law is protecting the perpetrator more than
the survivor.
You see, it does happen like that, and we keep on asking the community, please guys, don't take the law into your hands. We know what is going to be the consequences. You find out the whole family, they are being arrested because they were angry, and then they went straight to the perpetrator. They banned the perpetrator. The whole family. Can you imagine that we've been going to court whereby the whole family
is arrested.
is arrested.
How long are they arrested for? You.
Bantwana, brothers, and yeah.
Painful because the court is dealing with a very serious, sensitive case. Forgetting that not always.
Yes,
Those
yeah.
are really painful things.
My question was gonna revolve around law and order. Like Masiti that goes to court, and then the perpetrator actually did Louis, but the court doesn't have enough evidence. They dismiss the case. Then now the father is angry because her daughter or whoever didn't get the justice they deserve, and then they take matters into their own hands. Then maybe there's not enough evidence that they actually killed the perpetrator, something like that. Do they still get sentenced? Why is the investigation behind but who actually like who killed the perpetrator? Kanye, is it just left out a lot of?
I-perpetrator kaloku immediately ibethi okanye ibulewe, there will be a case that is being ne? Then the investigating officer will investigate that case, ne? But not the one that was investigating the rape case. Yes, a different one. And with this one, the evidence is there because people are saying the whole family came out and that they killed the person. It's clean. So the court will deal with that case where the evidence is clean and then give the sentences from mama to the younger one.
It's like no. But now, what if the community is like protecting the family and stuff, and then they said they didn't see anything, they don't know anything, and like they just happened, but he just died. Nobody knows anything.
It's on effect. If there's no one who's coming forward and saying the bonile, ne? And the family is denying, said no way, we're still frustrated and traumatized or the fact that our child was raped. Ngabikho evidence. If there's no evidence,
There's no evidence. It works with evidence. and also remember that even the perpetrator's family might be on the scene, you know. With this guy now, family they won't keep quiet, Bona. They won't say our brother, there was no one, you know, because Bona now they wanted justice for. So there will be someone saying something, you know, whether because now there's two sides. There's a survivor side and there's a perpetrator side. The perpetrator also has his own people, you know, that will say, hey, we know when you were there, you know. So it's a matter of the justice that they need to decide. And another thing also, there's no one who's above the law. We must always understand that there's no one above the law. And also it's important that we don't fix a wrong with a wrong, you know. If now your child is being raped, don't take the law into your hands. It's so sad because now you're fixing the wrong with the wrong. Now you end up being the perpetrator yourself, you know. And now for you it's even worse because now there's an evidence. There's people that saw you throwing a stone to this person and killing this person, you know. So yeah, you know, community yeah.
Otherwise, how do you feel though? Like there was a recent march for recently we did attend. I did attend probably. How did you feel like? Puffy was not there, but how do you feel having me to tell you that there wasn't like a lot of men involved like into the match? How does that make you feel?
In my side, I think the guys felt a little bit ashamed because it's like their gender that's being Ngabo who are most the perpetrators. So Abanye felt in some sort of embarrassment, but we couldn't do such things. And I was there, by the way, but I wasn't.
You were also like, I'm ashamed.
No, I was not ashamed. I was just overviewing.
Okay.
But what's next? Are they gonna take the justice for the way and the guy? Because people are voiced out, they were at the police station, but they were also victims. But it was the way. But I think especially more and about the police were like saying okay, giving them what to do and they should come report the cases and stuff. But they know that, but got back there. So what's gonna change now? So in a way, there's nothing way forward but getting justice.
And lastly, what I want to ask you guys is what precautions should people take to minimize rape within the community? Like what precautions can Abazali play or even Tina as a youth to make sure that we minimize the rape as much as possible?
Oh, we minimize the rape by respecting the other person's space. Ne? But sinobuntu, sine kindness. There's a lot of things that is involved when it comes to kindness and respect umdu and heavy boundaries. Ne? So don't take advantage. Firstly, number one, respect the person, because now trend is also that we find a lot of young kids that are being raped by adults, by abanda badala, meaning that now these people didn't respect the child. They saw even a vulnerability by Lomdana, I can do anything, I can threaten and say that, if you talk when I will kill you, and the child will be fear, uzo and then they don't report. So community kubalulekile that we respect each other. And also, abantu abangotata, we need them, guys. We need men, to be the leader of this, like this thing you were mentioning of Utweko. If there was a lot of guys, in front saying we want justice for this child, it also shows that Nabo Abaifune this thing, Abaya is supporter, and now they are feeling the same feeling that we are feeling as women, because we always take the leader. And the stat also says that most of the victims, it's us women, women and children. So we need a community to be educated also, but we need men to take a lead, of this. Be educated and respect and have a kindness towards another human being. Yeah.
Do you want to pick that up? Is it your phone?
The other thing, the other thing I was going to say, we need to go back in terms of strengthening our legal system. We need, because legal system is really sometimes failing the community, you see. So it needs to be strengthened, you see. I'm not saying there are no cases that you don't feel proud about the way they have been handled, ne? But still it's not enough. Ne? Secondly, I did mention that it's not a private matter, public matter. Ubu says a social worker, she knows that there are a lot of children that she felt that they need to be removed from the places, from their families, from their biological parents. They need to be removed, but because that is not a conducive environment to raise a child. That environment, maybe mtata lo wenta leto. And then siboni into balamtana makabe sitaweni right. Yakon. And the picketing, it's something that we need to do, you see, to support our people, to support our survivors. We need to do that, because sometimes it doesn't start by picketing. It starts by supporting a child who's going to court, who needs to be familiarized regarding the court setting. Because if you don't know the setting, even if you know what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to say you want. So that's why it's important that we take a journey of preparing a child to be able to go to court, to know whom he is or she is talking to, the magistrate, the prosecutors, the interpreters, everybody who is part of that court. You see, those are the things that really needs to do in education. Education.
I have a question. Sometimes Abandu say that the girls who influence the perpetrators to actually do such according to the way they dressed, or the way they handle themselves around about, maybe Wapume out there wearing isn't a short, and then the perpetrator always is about so vision thinking of such. They at the club, and then the women are twerking on the tables, or events in those way. It's the, I don't know. Yeah. Now that the perpetrators and then they sexualizing about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are living in this type of society where there's no bundu. You see, and when we talk about kudala kwakungekho kwanto bekurivuleka yonke iyaqonda ne. Then in terms of educate umntana wakho ne, you struggle because you are educating a person who is alert in terms of my rights. You see, and he's going to tell you that no, there's no dressing code, ma. If I want to wear istabeza, I can wear istabeza. And it's worse when that particular child is quoting and say, what about that child is wearing a nappy? You see, wena undihlelelaa into yokuba mandinxibe ngolu hlobo and I can't relate. But what about lo ukwinepi naye had the same problem?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, also adding to that, we mustn't assume. Assumptions are the risky behaviors. Because now I'm wearing a miniskirt and then I'm wearing a crop top. You assuming that I need to, have sex or whatever, I'm selling myself to you, that's a risk behavior. And also, I won't be punished for your consequences for your behavior, because for you to look at the person that is wearing a miniskirt and showing and sexualize them, it's your behavior. So I cannot be penalized for your behavior of doing something wrong to me because you assume that because I'm dressing like this, I'm at a party, I'm drunk, you can just do whatever. So let's not assume. It's better to understand the person clearly. What is the meaning of you dressing like this? What is it? Let's talk. Yeah. Yes, Smith. Yes.
because if when you have taken no husband, she's cute, like
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. Yeah. So we must always guide our actions and behavior. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't wanna actually eat much of your time, guys. I feel like we just rapid shakes and guys, we might actually have some of the Ilenduza
Okay.
booklets
Yeah.
that they might give us so that you guys can check out. Yeah, those are the ones. Feel free to reach out, good, and you can come and check them out. And but most importantly, I just want to honestly say thank you guys for actually coming through. And before I go on to acknowledge, how did you guys feel for your first podcast, God? Your first podcast conversation. We're starting tomorrow, right? This side. How was your first experience?
Actually, it's the work that we are doing. We go to radio stations. It's a matter of talking, as you are talking with radio. Don't mind about the camera. Kati, thank you for a party. Yes, my first podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming through and actually uzeka set up here to make it. Yeah. So I appreciate Ubukove and maybe other people bazo they gonna learn a few things from this podcast. Yeah. So a quick outro, maybe tell us about the as I said, Linda Yen and maybe contact details, babas and from another stuff. Yeah.
Okay, let me give it to Musi.
We'll see over to you.
Firstly, I also want to go back to the question of how did I fund the podcast. Ne? I was nervous, I wanted to go home actually. So when we were on our way and we couldn't find you guys, I was like, so I'm going now, ne? Let's just go. Because I think I had anxiety, I'm gonna be ikwababa. And then now coming in your set, I was like, okay, But once we started, I just felt that you guys made it easy for us, you made things just to flow. And also and also my colleague there he's always looking at me, he's like, you can do this. So it's just a learning thing for us, and yeah, I think surely we'll do more if the opportunity comes. And then back to the question. What was the question again?
How do people reach
Oh,
out to
yes. Okay. Ure Crisis Center has 3 offices in Nelson Mandela. We have our main office where we usually are, me and Siso, every day, which is in North End, opposite Home Affairs. It's Adali Arcade. I think we have our card. We'll leave it with you guys. And yes. And then we have another office at Motherwell, NU4B. That's where our linkage, we say our nurses and the staff operates there. So we also have an office there. And then we also have staff that are operating at TCC Doranginza site. Yes, at Dora. Then they call it Tutuzela Care Center. So we have first responders there that are taking care with the trauma contaminating with the survivors. Yes. So our landline is 041 343 3804. That's where you will find us. 484. Oh, yeah.
804.
Yes. 041 484 3804. Yeah.
We'll leave that to we'll also put that in the description so that they can find it, and also we'll leave you guys email as well so that everyone.
Just to add one thing, okay, because the organization is funded by Global, we cannot keep quiet in terms of not mentioning a big program that is funding us and focusing more on the health of a sex worker. You see, when the sex worker is doing illegal business, because it's illegal business, but we focus on their health when their rights are being violated. You see, empowering them in terms of we know they are in this industry because of various issues, but we are not the people who can say, move, subalap, because we know our country has got a high unemployment rate. So the only thing that we need to do, we need to educate the person, and we need to make sure that this person will say tomorrow, because of the information that and the knowledge that I got from it, that I don't think I will go to Cetra 12th Street and do this work, because this work is very risky. But for us to say it's not like that, the only thing is to ensure that we improve health in order for any disease, HIV, TB, and STI cannot be transmitted to my partner, to my boyfriend, to my child who is a boyfriend or a girl. You see, so that is also part of the program that we are embarking on.
Yeah. Maybe next time we'll have that more about sex worker.
The guys.
Yeah.
But let's not put people. That's all in the box. And we talk about health. We talk about most of the things, because sometimes you call in clock on that. I want and follow. So let's be free when we talk about this. You can see, so that we can be able to improve the health of all of us and as music.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is maybe we could have another podcast.
Yes.
Right.
It's given.
Once again, thank you guys for actually tuning into today's podcast. And I had fun, actually. I didn't think like it was gonna be this funny. This fun towards the end, even though it was such a sensitive topic. Yes, as we said, it's uneasy, but it's necessary that we educate ourselves, and especially within the community. So guys, stay tuned, and we'll see you guys with more episodes coming out. Anything you guys want to say before Zibo, man?
Thank you.
Sharp.
Sharp.
Sharp.